fight.
Your feet up now. You can go your intro before you start. Just let me.
So I can go ahead and do it.
You can start now on your.
Yeah. What up, chat? How you doing? Hope you're ready for your free extra bonus run here at the cost of no channel points. Hyperdimension, Neptunia, Victory, New Game Plus, Normal End. I'm just going to let the OP play out before I do any extra. As with all the PS3 trilogy, it is a banger. Alright. Lots of nostalgia with that one. Whew. Alright. So New Game Plus Normal Ending. We have a lot of DLCs. Because that's normally how New Game Plus is operated. And Victory very overpowered. So much so that even if you did straight up new game, level 1 Neptune, give her the DLC weapon, she will be stronger stat-wise than her level 99 counterpart without the DLC weapon. So you add that on top of being in the very high hundreds of the level, and you got some very strong cast of characters to play with. Well, what we're going to do is, this is a pretty brain-dead category. I'm going to try to actually, if anyone's interested, y'all can listen in. If not, just ignore most of my ramblings. I'm going to explain bits and pieces of the game, but I'll also just go over a brief history of Neptunia speedrunning.
Take out your notes on the test.
Because I love doing that. And I'm also extremely tired. So we will try our best to mix up both of these things here. So let's go ahead and start, shall we? I'm going to go ahead and start the timer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. Timing starts on the last DLC text box. Right off the bat, we have a normally unbeatable fight. Because we're New Game Plus and we have an AoE attack for Neptune, we don't care about unwinnable fights. We use At-Ranger's Summon, a skill that is not available in Rebirth 3. So you can't really do this fight in one turn, even on New Game Plus, which is very sad. Alright, so while we have a bunch of the opening story going along, the history of Neptunia speedrunning. the origins, there's not much known if there was any speedrunning history before late 2014 or mid 2014 when a dude with the online name Token picked up Vanilla Nep and did a bunch of New Game Plus. So that's as far back as we really can go to our current knowledge. But late 2014, I picked up the Nep games casually, starting with Vanilla Mark II and making my way to Victory. Victory is very infamous for being a very difficult video game without DLC, and it has a bunch of BS mechanics, power scaling, etc. You name it. So since I've had many years of speedrunning experience before this, after beating this game and it kicked my butt splendidly, I'm like, you know what? It's time to beat your ass. So I started speedrunning it myself. Learned that this is a relatively niche and partly unknown community. So I started doing. I got perfect RNG, by the way. Heck yeah, let's go. That was a 50-50 chance right there. Alright, so it's not all about me. We got Token still doing Vanilla Nep. We're opening the leaderboards up on speedrun.com back in the super early days when that was brand new. He's doing Vanilla, I'm doing Victory. I'm trying to decide the rules of Victory. And I wanted to make the ending time, for whatever reason, match that of Super Mario RPG, aka JRTA, as they call it, where you end at the end of the credits. Token didn't like that, and probably for the best, because that was a terrible idea for past me to do. So we end on final hit. Alright, so I'm just grinding this game, Token's grinding Vanilla, and then comes early 2015. I'm just surfing around, I'm looking, oh, hey, there's a Vanilla stream going on. It's probably Token. Oh, it's not Token. It's this dude named Zfresh Pinoy. Let's go chat with him. And my controller just randomly died. Let's do that out of nowhere, even though you're connected to the charger. Okie dokie. Stop dying! Okay. Now that controller RNG is over, we meet him, chat, hang out, and get to know each other a little bit. I'm speedrunning Victor. We got 2 vanilla runners. Mid 2015, we meet the first Mark II speedrunner. His name is Chozox. And also around the time to mid-late 2015, we have the Rebirth scene starting to pop out, which really explodes the Neptunia community. Like, we only had 4 of us after Cho. But Rebirth 1 comes onto the PC scene, and oh my lord, it just goes crazy. I think we literally get like 10 people at once speedrunning Rebirth 1. And that's really just how we do from there. That goes for a while. We get to start forming the Discord with all the... maybe just main. It's just really just me, Token, Cho, Zfresh. We have a few of the Rebirth 1 runners. And this goes on with really nothing notable. If I remember correctly, Chozox is going into New Game Plus, New Game category for Mark II. I'm sticking to all the Rebirth Victory New Game Plus runs. Normal, good, and true ending. Z-Fresh was doing New Game Plus at the time. I think he was routing New Game. Token staying on New Game Plus. Eventually lowering it to a 250. 250 normal in New Game Plus vanilla. That stayed the world record for quite a while. Until Z-Fresh started picking around. But nothing big happens until 2016. 2016 is the year of the NEP because a very specific title called Mega Dimension Neptunia V2 launches in the West around April of that year. Right after that, we get runners: Aurora Flow 12, Da Bomb Stew, Aaron ESP11. And the scene is forever changed, especially with a runner called Da Bomb Stew. And I'm going to take a brief moment to pause that and just concentrate on equipping here. See if I can remember how to do everything. And that's all okay. So how bad exploded in popular? V2 is, you know, it was the most recent mainline NEP. We have all the rebirths launched at that point, I believe. Birth3 may have been after V2. My memory is kind of fuzzy. But anyway, thanks to that, we get Da Bomb, me, Aaron, Aurora, and Z-Fresh playing V2 all at the same time. We're breaking New Game Plus. Well, half of us is breaking New Game Plus, half of us is breaking New Game. I was a petty son of a gun. I wanted to be the very first one to do a speedrun. Did I forget to get the quest? Hold on. I may have just been talking and... Yep, okay. Well, we'll just pretend we got that first try. So, I promise, eventually I'll get to victory. So after everyone gets their fill of V2, the Bomb wants to move to other NEP games. Cho is still doing Mark II. But eventually, sometime in 2017 to 2018, we get on the topic of how Victory is the most difficult NEP game. It cannot be speedrun on a new game. So Cho decides to pick up the controller and prove everybody wrong. New Game Plus is such a dead category, or brain dead category. So we had to figure out how to get New Game to happen because it is just so difficult. The enemies can one-shot you. The balance is so off because we're not grinding levels. You don't get your EXC until level 25. Every enemy and boss has this freaking explosion attack that looks like a gunshot. It's very unfair, right? So, what Cho finds out is just, and this goes with a lot of routing of other NEP games in the past, especially the Rebirth games, where we learned any game with a victory engine, you get like a 10% stat boost when you're solo party. It was around it was a big explosion of knowledge we were learning at the time. And then SSD, we were learning that is faster. Of course, it's faster, but it's way faster for NEP games because these games are just very poorly optimized for PlayStation 3. Basically, what led Victory to finally being broken is if you sacrifice Neptune to the enemy gods, where aka she dies like 25 times every fight, probably even more. You can make it where the enemies just concentrate on her for the first half of the match. And then you're solid. You just keep on attacking the boss while Neptune dies over and over and over again. And thanks to that little bit of information, along with Cho's just humongous experience of just being god at routing, we finally broke this game wide open. So that's happening in Victory. It became the last mainline net game to finally be broken. V2's being grinded like crazy. 2017 is... I said 2016 was the year of like everything exploding. 2017 was like definitely the year where everything that exploded is starting to really fall into place. True End's getting a lot of NV2's getting a lot of strats developed by Cho, especially the CPUs. ILs are becoming a thing in late 2017, where we do each CPU arc by itself. That's getting grinded by a ton. And we're just having a really good time. Also, what happened at the end of 2017 is, I bet you can guess it, the very first Neptunia Marathon. Thanks to the Neptunia Marathon, especially how it ended with the 2-hour memes meme, of course, we get a bunch of new runners. Like Hexy123, Ozdaka, just to name a few. Because of that, we get a bunch of side games also. Well, even Iliaya, who was Oxwas, aka Neplali, a bunch of different names. The side game scene explodes. Nepu, Megatag, Mention, and then 2017 or 2018 with Hyperdimension, Neptunia. They are getting exploded, just blew wide open by all of those runners. I won't go into too much detail about all the side games, but they also deserve some credit, because the side games, no matter what genre you really like the side games, they are all fun in their own right. Even the Hyper Devotion Noir, which gets the least amount of love, it did eventually get picked up and ran. It's the longest Neptunia game by far, even on PC. And that's basically like the history summed up the best I can of runners and stuff, because right after 2017, 2018 when the Net Marathon launched, not really too much like big developments, humongous runners happened, well, until 2020 or 2021. The newer the history, believe it or not, the more fuzzy my memory gets for some reason. We get Vilo Alopis and IIVGMII to join in on the Rebirth 2 scene. They really kicked a lot of butts. Like, they came out of nowhere and completely destroyed Rebirth 2, both Normal End, Conquest, and Holy Sword ending, new game. And since then, they've delved into like the newest NEP, the Sister vs. Sisters, Mega Dimension Neptunia V2R, Velo's, you know, the Jack of all trades, Master of all of them as well. It's rarity to get that. And I'm going to take a side to pause from that and just fan service galore. You gotta love it. And really, ever since then, we just have been having these yearly marathons. We are at the 5th anniversary of these. It's the 6th marathon, the 5th anniversary. Thank you all for sticking with us. Even if you stuck with us for one marathon or all 5 marathons, just 2.5 marathons. We thank you from the bottom of our heart for sticking with us this long, and we hope to provide many memes to come. And that was a very shortened explanation of the history, and I still have 7 chapters left of this game, so I'm going to try my best to explain really what's going on. Although I'm not too good at it right now. We all Plutia is scarring Noir. So what we gotta do, or no, Noir's found. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself story-wise. Noir has started her own nation because we are in the Ultra Dimension in this game. The Ultra Dimension you aren't a CPU if you can be one. You have to find a stone to become one. So when Neptune warps here, she is not a CPU until she touches a stone. So the Noir of this dimension also was not one. But now we are one. And she started her own nation, so we're going to go over there and pay her a visit because, you know, Neptune and Plutia, they love being annoying. But they also just love hanging out with their friends. So that's where we're heading right now. We're going to do a big skip in this game because at this point in time, you were not meant to have eject buttons, right? So if we use an eject button right here, and then enter the dungeon from Last Station side, we just skip that entire second half of that map and go straight to the Last Station little mini boss here that's guarding your exit into Last Station.
Don't get careless. Let's get serious.
This saves a lot of time. And you'll get to see it 2 more times. It's also slightly faster to eject out there instead of taking a couple of steps forward if you do the menus fast enough. So we're about to meet Noir. We need to learn how to become better CPUs, but instead, you know, Neptune and Plutia just want to hang out and just laze around. These two were made for each other. I don't know what they would do without ever meeting each other. And we're also about to learn of the worst thing ever made in video game history, the scouting system. Or I'll just say the Neptunia history. It was a mistake. I stand by that. Because thanks to it being introduced in this game, it was also introduced in V2. And they were both mistakes. Thankfully, we don't have to use scouts unless you do True In. It is required in True In. They fixed that in Rebirth 3, at least in the New Game Plus standard. It is not required for True In New Game Plus in Rebirth 3. The one way Rebirth 3 is better. You cut out the scouting system entirely. Scouting is when you send scouts to dungeons and you just basically have to pass a certain amount of time, depending on which dungeon it is, to have them find things. And they have to find specific dungeons that have cutscenes in them, and those cutscenes are required for True In. But, like I said, we don't have to worry about that in this ending, or the good ending. Really, in normal end, it is just a straight shot from beginning to end. In good end, we have to collect a few items to help bring back, like, PC's memory. And then True End, we gotta get those items for PC's memory, and we gotta get those extra cutscenes. Right now, we are supposed to do a fetch quest here by entering this dungeon. This dungeon is supposed to teach us how to do like specific things. But really, because New Game Plus, you probably noticed in Chapter 1, I did a lot of fetch quests and just turned it in instantly. We already have the items to get over, you know, doing these fetch quests. So we just entered this dungeon and leave. We're supposed to have learned a lesson by being in that dungeon. Noir was supposed to teach Neptune how to work. But if the New Game Plus was its own universe, Neptune doesn't learn a single thing. We just enter and leave. Neptune's never going to be a good CPU. Poor Neptune and stuff. Alright, now that that's over, we're back in the Last Station Basilicum. We've learned our lesson in this universe, where Neptune actually did something. We learned that there's an infiltrator in Last Station, and it's Louise CPU. What? We gotta go and like get that woman out of here. So we're gonna go find her real quick. Just teach her not to mess with us and stuff. Also, because this is New Game Plus, we have a higher jump that we also use at the end of the last dungeon of the first chapter. You're going to see it here. I'm going to just jump a little higher and skip a few steps of walking. It's literally just like 2 or 3 steps worth of walking because I'm going to jump like right here. Or, okay, that was a step early. Get to this cutscene. Plutia and Neptune are going to be hiding behind the bushes while the 2 CPUs meet each other. Nora's like, oh, get out of here, and blah, and I don't remember what Whiteheart says, but blah, 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 and stuff. It's not really important at this point. We do learn that the Whiteheart of this dimension is a bit, you know, we start learning that she is different from the Hyperdimension variation. Like, she's a bit more hesitant and stuff like that because she's currently being manipulated right now behind the scenes, and she doesn't know it. After that, we learn of something else that's going on behind the scenes. Okay, so we're gonna do a little manipulation right here. If you do this specific path, and you know what you're doing to do it, you will always dodge those enemies. You just gotta lure out that bit and then walk against the wall. Otherwise, you can just go between the bits and the robot things, but it is scary. Most of the time you will get an encounter. But if you... most pathing in this game has been optimized by yours truly to specifically how to dodge all the enemies, except for one specific path in chapter 5? It's been a while since... 5 or 6. Where the enemies really just, you're gonna have to just do it by ear. We're about to meet another person from the villain faction. We met R4 and Pirchu in the first chapter. We're meeting Copy Paste now. He's my favorite one. He's such a cool guy. Very underrated villain. He's not even a villain. I don't even care what people say. He's not a villain. He's cool. I like this guy. I wish he would become like a person you can control as a party member. But, you know, after this game and V2 happened, V2 doesn't really care that this game ever happened. Like, sure, the hole is still open, and they mention CPUs from the other world, but they don't ever say the names Plutia and Pishi and all that kind of stuff. They don't even mention Ray Wrights when they talk about her own power. Like, I don't know why the creators of this franchise is just so scared to talk about characters from previous games. They don't even talk about, like, the names of the Basilicom's, like, watchovers. I'm farting on what they're called. You know, like, besides Ishwar, the other Basilicom, the mascots. Mina, the last station one. But yeah, anyway. We're now on chapter 3. We're going to actually infiltrate Louis ourselves. I don't remember what leads up to it. Oh, no, Noir's angry and mad, and Plutia's like, calm down. And Noir's like, huffing and puffing, I'm going to blow your house down. And Plutia's like, no, you're going to calm down, and I'm going to whip you into shape right now. So, Noir gets whipped into shape. She's scarred for life. We go do a quest while she's scarred. And this passes time for her to get unscarred. We have to go to the last station side of the jet range because this quest is kill this dragon. Just like everything else in New Game Plus, it's one shot. Top skill of Plutia. In this game, Plutia is MVP. She is very overpowered. Magic rules all in this game. And Plutia is very good at it. In fact, later in this game, you'll see a very interesting strat that's used in both Victory and Rebirth 3 to reduce lag and save time. But yeah, Noir's back to normal. So we found the way to get to Louis from last station, so time for us to go. On the road to Viridian City, you know, because it's Nintendo, haha. And we're about to see the second use of the eject strats, because yet again we're still not supposed to have them at this point. And it really only works with a dungeon that is connecting two different landmasses together, and it's the same named dungeon that appears on both sides. That becomes very what's the word? Very important. The dungeon of that same name has to be on both landmasses. That will become important in chapter 4. And I'll explain why when we get there. But for now, we're going to get to this next tier, and we're going to eject out, and we're going to be in Louis. Magic. But we're not exactly out of the woods yet, because we still got to go back into Louis' side of this dungeon and go to the cutscene marker. Because nothing can happen until we go to the cutscene marker. But it is slightly faster to eject out there and go to the cutscene marker from this side than it is to go there from last station side. So now we're in Louis. We're disguising ourselves. Hopefully people won't notice us. We're gonna meet a mysterious CPU that no one knows yet, you know, except for Neptune, because we're from the Hyperdimension. We know who all the CPUs are. Who is this big-chested girl wearing a green outfit? Neptune doesn't even acknowledge the fact it is a different color outfit. And he treats Vert like the Hyperdimension Vert because Neptune is... I love Neptune to death, but she is not the brightest character in the bunch. Anyway, Vert's plotting something, but, you know, it doesn't really come to fruition because Neptune foils her plans. But now we're about to go to Louise Basilicom, but we have to go through a maze-like dungeon first. It's easy to get lost here if you don't know your way. But thankfully, we don't lose our way, because we've done this a lot. What this dungeon really amounts to is dodge enemies the dungeon, because there is some tight corridors where some enemies can spawn and block you and lose some time if you encounter them. But meanwhile, we get this really cool theme. Acrylic wall is what this theme is called. I acknowledge a lot of music that originated in this game is really good, and this is one of them, my top 5. That bit is one of the infamous enemies that can be in a bad spot and gives you an encounter. That was indeed a Kill la Kill reference. I was hoping someone in chat would get it. Those enemies are really dumb. They really don't notice you until you pass by them. So you would never encounter them unless you try on purpose to encounter them. Well, we're closing in on the end of the first part of this maze because there's a second part that we'll have to go to later. And we get another sort of like group here. They could be in the way, but meh. And then in the room with the actual cutscene marker, there's a wolf. Maybe 5% of the time, this wolf can be in your way, but if you go this long way here, you don't have to worry about it. Alright, so Whiteheart, you're my favorite CPU. You're the goddess that I freaking like worship and all that, but we gotta end your whole career right here. I'm sorry. And boy, do we end her whole career here for a short period of time. Like, we really do. Because this whole thing that's about to happen is going to be broadcasted to Louis Television. And everyone starts losing faith in their goddess. Because we beat her, not just slightly. We're about to one-shot her and send her to like another universe.
Are you supposed to be my
Because Iris Heart is just so strong. Look at that, 145,000 damage. Ultra Mention Blonde's best blonde, by the way. Alright. So now she's losing shares and all that because that defeat was broadcasted live because freaking Abness is such a crappy person. I don't like her. Mr. Bad, I like Mr. Bad more than I like Abness. I'm going to admit that. Or, okay, Mr. Bad, as I like to say it in my meme streams, or my streams. We're thrown in jail because the people who are like controlling Blonde behind the scenes have now taken over Louis because well, the goddess can't protect it no more. We're not going to fight civilians, but you know, so we're going to take it back. But we can't escape the jail. But oh no, that mysterious 4th CPU that we met out of nowhere that no one knows, not even Neptune, comes out to rescue us because she somehow gets a key. And there we go. And now we're about to see the last instance of eject strats, because at the cutscene that we eject from, there's literally an eject box, the first one in the game, if without scouts. Technically, you can get ejects before this moment if you scout Neptune hidden dungeon. Level up Power Level Island or something like that. It's been a while. I apologize, but the first chest we see after this cutscene is an eject. So what we're going to do here, we're just going to eject to save time. It's not really an eject to like be a dungeon skipper. Yeah, it basically stopped us from going a long way to get here. Alright, so I brain farted. What was I gonna talk about before we got here? Oh yeah, so that cutscene we had to watch first. See, these games, you might think they're poorly made and stuff, but most Neptunia games, especially Victory, they're actually really hardwired to not let you sequence break it. Because that cutscene I watched is required. We can skip it with the eject button. We can go straight here. But if you don't watch that cutscene, then this marker right here does not appear. This cutscene marker ends the chapter. So, without looking at that cutscene marker in the cave, we cannot beat the chapter. So we have to watch that cutscene. Now, in Rebirth 1, it's very infamous that you can skip a cutscene in a fight with an eject button. That's one of just... It's very rare, and it's like one of the only times you can do that in the mainline games, including remakes. Because everything else might be poorly made about the games, but the creators knew how to make sure you cannot sequence break it. That fire right there, it ends the stage. We got Blonde her powers back because we broadcasted us actually defeating the bad guy this time. So we're just going to be ending up this stage here after leaving the Wii. Everything's all happy-go-lucky now. We're about to start up chapter 4. As you probably noticed, like, we're getting a new CPU version of a character on our team. Every chapter. Chapter 1 is started, you know, Neptune. We got Plutia on our team. Technically we got Noir, but she wasn't a CPU yet. Chapter 2, we got Noir. Chapter 3, we got Blonde. Now chapter 4, who else are we gonna get? We're gonna get Fert now. But first, we gotta go through some... Oh my god, they found out how to create that wormhole that sent us here to send us back home. Oh, it's sad. I don't want to go back home. I miss you. I love you guys and all that stuff. But, you know, thankfully, Neptune also doesn't have that, like, brilliant of a sister. As much as we like to think Neptune's brilliant, she's not that brilliant. We also get to see the children for the first time. Child IF, Child Compa, they're adorable as all heck. And that's cute and all, but we gotta go back home. But before we go home, we gotta do the quest. This is an RNG quest. It can take between 3 to 4. Because we need 5 skeletons total. Each fight is a minimum 2. At maximum 3. So we can get 2 fights minimum for perfect RNG. We can get 3 fights average. 2, 2, 2. Or, wait, hold on, I'm doing this wrong. Oh yeah, that's why I'm doing it wrong. We can get 1 minimum. So it's we can get a 3 maximum. Or something like that. Yeah, my brain's tired. Anyway, it's just between 3 and 5. So we just do this until we see the quest complete. We're getting the average RNG. Yeah, so it's 3, 4, or 5 is the maximum the numbers you can get, and we got 4 there, so it's average. Just pretend I didn't say what I said at the start of that. But now that we're done with that, that was the last little push we needed to make that portal I was talking about. And now we're gonna go back home. Oh yeah, there's also a third baby too. Her name is Peachy. We have to learn more about her later. Well, the real show is just adorable child IF and combo. Because, I mean, it's IF and combo, for crying out loud. We have a very sad moment here. I don't want you to go home. Please stay. I gotta go home. And then Nepgear's like, no, no, you don't. I'm gonna go over there. Boom! And the infamous, just everyone falling from the sky, landing on Noir. It all started with a victory. But now that she's here, the game really starts to kick her butt. For no reason whatsoever, this game really puts it to Nepgear for being a really crappy protagonist of Mark II. It picks on her so bad. And we have to leave her here for babysitting duty. We don't get her right away. And there's no reason why this had to happen. Poor Nepgear, she was a good protagonist in Mark II. What am I misremembering here? Did I overlook the quest? Where am I supposed to go? Oh, okay. I brain farted. I'm doing this without notes. I jumped the gun. We leave her here to babysit because we're gonna go visit Vert in Leanbox. And here earlier I mentioned the dungeons that you can skip with the eject buttons have to physically be in both nations. So you would, you know, without that knowledge, you would think, oh, I can just use the eject button in this dungeon because at the end of this dungeon, we spawn in a Leanbox, right? But no, that is not the case. Like, we do appear in Leanbox. That much is true. But there is no dungeon of this dungeon in Leanbox. So sadly, you cannot use the eject strats to skip this dungeon. As sad as it is. Because this is not an exit here, sadly. Because you'll see us appear in Leanbox, but there is no dungeon. See, Leanbox, there no dungeon. It's just Leanbox. So no eject strat for that. And that's why we can only use the eject strats on those two specific dungeons. So we're meeting Vert. Vert's showing off her personality, that, you know, her chest is huge, she's the best CPU because her tits are the biggest in the world, and it pisses Blonde off, so we have to leave before Blonde, like, really explodes. We also get to see how much of an otaku Vert is. Showing off her yaoi collection along with her video games. But we leave before, you know, Noir, or Blonde, gets really mad and destroys her house. So we go back to Neptune. Nepgear is so depressed because we left her to babysit. She's also getting PTSD from being picked on so much for being a crappy Mark II protagonist. Don't worry, Nepgear, you were amazing as a protagonist. Now that she's happy again, we get her on our side. She's on our team. She's not a CPU though, because in this world you have to find an item and become a CPU. But before Nepgear does that, we have to pass time by killing this robot quest. There's just a walk to the robot, one shot, leave, turn in quests, story advances. You'll see that a lot in this game. You've seen it a lot already. We'll go back and turn this quest in. We'll see that Vert has come to visit us this time and invites us to come to her country to challenge her. To a duel! And that's just to a normal fight. Sadly. There is no Yu-Gi-Oh! To be played in this game, as much as it would have been pretty cool. Yet again, Blonde's getting pissed because Vert's doing her big chest jokes. So, like, come to my country if you want to live or die. We go to our country because we want to live. We learn that the villains are up to like no good again. They don't like the fact that all the CPUs are gathering in a place. We go to a dungeon called Halo Forest. And this is where we really start hammering down on Vert, the whole Vert wanting a sister storyline. Like, it starts with this game, really, and then it expands onward to the other games, even with the Hyperdimension Vert. Because coming up, we're going to be in the cutscene where Vert really legit tries to steal Neptune's sister from her. Walk to the left. He stood there longer than he normally does. So she has that crystal thing that gives you the CPU powers, and she gives it to Nepgear, thinking making Nepgear think it's like a free ship. But now that she has it and can transform, where it's like, you're my sister now. It's only natural because I gave it to you. So we're fighting them. It's like, no, give me my sister back and all that jazz. We think Vert's evil. We're doing such an evil, awful, terrible, mean thing, like stealing sisters. And Nepgear's just going along with it. I mean, she totally doesn't have to. She's not being held at gunpoint. But Nepgear just falls for anything with a big chest. If you've seen the anime, she falls for anything with a big chest.
I'll beat my authority into your skull.
Boom! Headshot. One shot them. They don't even know what even happened. No, this is done. Is I got my sister back. Vert didn't like this, so she actually starts crying. We see a big boob wiggle CG there. Boom, jiggle, jiggle. And as this is going on, we get a lean box guard saying, we've been infiltrated by the big bad guys again. So it's like, not again, really? So we have to go fight them. It's 2 in a row. We get to see our wonderful R4. By wonderful, I mean not wonderful in the least bit. And then we get to see the actual wonderful copy paste. And just like everything else in this game, is a boom headshot, boom headshot. What we're hoping for, at least with the copy paste, is we have Death Cry RNG. If he just goes, then we got the best RNG. If he does anything else, it's slow.
Are you supposed to be my opponent? What shall I do to you?
The sun seems
Especially bright today. You can see how that was much slower than.
No way.
I hope they learned their lesson, etc. We're out of here. Chapter 4, Ogre. And the game wants to show off, oh, hey, all 4 CPUs are friends now. So we get a little special bonus thing at the end here before the between chapters grading system, which only existed in this game and Rebirth 3. This is not in Rebirth 3, if I remember correctly. The CG here, it's unskippable. It has to, and it doesn't finish until it scrolls all the way down, even though the text finished ages ago. It's a cool CG, I like it, but man, I really wish that it just ended with when the text finishes. I've been doing a lot of commentary because I'm testing myself to fill up at least 95% of this run with commentary. So we might go overestimate just because I'm bad at playing and commentary at the same time. I hope chat is okay with that. Everybody is okay with just more NEP in the first place, right? Here we see 5-year-old versions of Compa, If, and Pishi. They're starting to grow up now. Chapter 5, everyone's together. the bad guys don't like it, so now every nation's gonna get infiltrated at the same time. This is also the start where we start getting some good end items if we're doing good end, but we're not doing good end. So if you were on base PS3 and you had DLC party members, like you can get Child, If, and Compa on your party through DLC, you would get them after this cutscene. If you had them in your party, the first cutscene I'm going to in Lean Box, so we gotta go through all three nations to help them with their bad guy situation. This cutscene right here would be a black screen for 20 seconds. This black screen right here. Because base PS3 with DLC did not like, or this cutscene did not like base PS3 with the DLC in your team. It would be very shortened, even if you just put the DLC characters in your backline. It would be very much shortened. It just does not like them in your front line. But of course, you saw the speed of it being on a PS3 with a solid state drive and no DLC. It was just only a couple seconds. But I have my original run. In fact, my first couple of runs where I just had If and Compa get added to my party. And I was wondering, why is this black screen here for like 20 seconds? And it was not until the Bomb Stew got introduced into the community that I learned that it was DLC. I don't remember if it was him specifically, or something like he did with someone else. But we learned that DLC party members in this game does not mix well. Because it's not only just that cutscene.
You look formidable.
It's other cutscenes. It's just specifically that cutscene is treated the longest. In this fight, you might have missed it because I was talking, but we did what's called a death cry skit. Mr. Bat goes, "This is impossible, ugh." But if you kill a boss that has a death cry with another enemy still around him, if you kill him and then kill that other enemy, right afterwards, if the boss was in the middle of the death cry, it would be skipped instantly. So it's always preferred, if you're in a boss with other enemies, kill the boss first, kill an enemy right afterwards. It'll skip his death cry. You'll see that as well when we get to Noir's section. If I can do it right. It is a bit more tricky than Mr. Bat's situation. Alright, in this dungeon, there's really no enemies to worry about except like near the end, when we're etching close to the final turns to get to copy-paste 3, because it's the third time we get to see him. That squirrel guy can like stand right here. Like you saw him walking in my direction. Like maybe if I was slow by 2 seconds or something, he could have blocked me. But thankfully he didn't. So there's really no way around him. You just get the encounter and really. So this is bad. That enemy noticed me. As soon as I'm done with this fight, I need to remember to hit triangle as fast as I can. Because he will get an encounter on me if I do not like hit triangle as fast as I can. We're gonna one-shot copy-paste. Like everything else.
But I have no regrets.
We got the second fastest death cry. It might even be the same as his. Whoa! Okay, now we're going through the station. I'm gonna get to see like everybody's favorite antagonist from, like, especially the anime. Noir's Stalker, a robot that I'm just gonna say he's a special robot. That is all. But thankfully, after this, we're going to everybody's favorite part of this game. And if it's not your favorite part, you're lying. You might as well just not even lie to yourself. It's your favorite part of the game. We're going to do the very infamous Plutia Slippers %. Now, I'll explain that when we get there. But first, we got to do these darn bits. Earlier in the marathon, you saw runners in Reverse and Rebirth 1 do what's called the item and skill bits. You're not allowed to use items until you kill the item bit, and you're not allowed to use skills until you use the skill bit. So what we're going to do is hopefully combo the skill bit first. It'll waste time if it's not directly in front of us. So, and then we're going to use skills to kill in any death. And then kill the second item bit right after that, so we skip his death cry. That's ideally what's going to happen. Like, hopefully to his left is the skill bit. Yeah. Yep, we skipped that death cry perfectly. That was a flawless fight. That saves a good bit of time over not skipping his death cry, because he has one of the longer death cries than any death does. Alright, so we have the knowledge that if you have one solo party member, you get a 10% stat boost. But there's also something exclusive to, well, it's just really Victory, Rebirth 1, 2, and 3, maybe Mark 2. I don't really have much knowledge over Mark 2, but if you have a solo party member, dungeons also, or the whole game goes faster. So we're going to go switch to Plutia because she's the most overpowered character in this game. And then we're also going to make her the only party member. Now all of a sudden we have a 10% stat boost, meaning we're going to one-shot everything for the rest of the game. And everything's going to load faster, just magically. And we're going to zoom the camera in because a nice little thing the creators didn't have to do, but they did anyway. Your footsteps are louder when you zoom in. So I just want to show that off. These enemies I talked about earlier, they are in really good spots, but those two right there could just be in your way, and you have to play it by ear to get around them. The hardest enemies to get around in the game. For those of you who likes the fan service kind of thing, here you go. You only get 5. That's all you get. Whoops. You get an extra one there, although it's zoomed out a bit. Alright, so at this point in the story, Child, If, and Compa has been kidnapped. Pishi as well. Thankfully, Pirachu is guarding Compa. She doesn't get scarred, but Pirachu, just like in the Hyperdimension, Pirachu falls in love with Child Compa in this timeline. So, you know, I guess it was just meant to be that Pirachu loves Compa no matter how old she is. You can find that creepy or lovely. I'm not going to judge you. But now we find Child If's kidnapper. All thing is like normal right now, but we're about to freaking curb stomp R4 and then make the kidnapping worse for Iffy because she witnesses something a 5-year-old should never witness. A humongous event that scars her for life. That does not one-shot if we were like a few levels lower. That is barely one-shots. So here we are. Iris Heart did not like the kidnapping, so she's torturing R4 very badly, and poor IF is getting to witness it. And now Iris Heart's doing her best to calm IF down. And her version of calming her down didn't work none, so she's even more scarred for life now. And that's a common theme you get for the rest of this game is scarred IF. In this cutscene, they learned that Pishi may actually be qualified to be a goddess. Because what I didn't mention earlier is you need a stone to become a goddess, but if you try to use the stone and you're not worthy of becoming a goddess, you'll die instantly. I think. You'll either be severely injured or you'll die. It's one of those two things. Pretty sure it's die. But they learned that Pishi can become a goddess because they had a stone in their bag and it didn't kill her. Dun dun dun! Plot twist. Although we don't really like learn it. Like the characters in the game don't learn it right then and there, but us, the player, we know. We know at this point. Alright, so chapter 6. This is really just like a time wasting chapter. We're just gonna do quests and stuff. But then, because in Any Death, and Ray writes, who we met in the first chapter, because they know about Pishi, they're going to attempt to get her on their side by giving her dark energy to make her forget all her memories. So we're just going to be doing stuff to pass time until we get to that point. Another Fet's quest, but we already have the items for it, so we're going to go to the Basilicom. And then he's trying to figure out how to break in, and he gets in, he lures Pishi. Pishi is like slowly losing her memories, and now we go back and they're gone. And Any Death transforms into a human parent. Wait, I don't think we're supposed to do that on normal end. We're going to see that in the next cutscene. He's going to transform into a parent, pretending to be Pludia's father or mother, one of those two. Oh, whoops, we are also jumping the gun here. We do the cats first.
They're spaced out.
So we got perfect RNG. When we see 3 cats in the first one, that is perfect RNG. It's like a 80% chance to get perfect RNG or something like that. It's really easy to get perfect RNG on this quest. But yeah, basically the storyline of the children is they have no parents that is known of. So the Basilicom took them in. But the reason why I said because that they know of is this dude comes in prancing as Pishi's father. So now we're gonna lose Pishi because, you know, her quote-unquote father has come to get her. Sad moment. We don't want to part ways with Pishi. This is very sad in the anime. In the anime, I won't spoil it. It's slightly different, but still equally depressing as it is in this game. But right after this, we lost her. We can't get her back. I mean, we had to turn it over. If that's her real father, we can't do anything about it. So to pass the time, we gotta do another quest. This one's slightly more RNG capable. It's similar to the skeletons. It can be anywhere between 3, 4, and 5 encounters, but we gotta get Pac-Man ghosts. We gotta get 5 of each gender. There's a male and female Pac-Man ghost. So you'll be hearing me say stuff like 1 male, 1 female to help me keep count. That was a bad start because that one could have 3 and 2. Alright, so 3 female, 2 male. 4 female, 3 male. We're gonna need at least 2 males here, or else we officially get the worst RNG. Awesome! Middle RNG. We did not get the worst RNG. Okay, so... Okay. Trying to remember exactly what happens here. Okay, I think we get told something related to a new nation is getting formed at this point, so we're gonna go investigate it. And it's right next to Louis, so we're gonna go to Louis first. The new nation isn't there yet, but because we have to do this first, we have to go to Louis, to the Metroid shelter, and we're going to encounter Mr. Bad again. But before we get there, just slightly dodge some enemies there. It looks like you can encounter them, but if you literally hug the wall, they don't even know you exist. So we're going to get here to this fight. It's going to be another try and hit specific enemies in a specific order. And then, because he's going to be having some bugs around him, so we're going to kill him and a bug at the same time, and there's going to be 2 bugs remaining that we hope group up close enough together to be killed with another skill. This saves a turn's worth of time, if we can get that to happen. And we need them, in order to increase our chances, we gotta move up just slightly. Are they gonna be close enough? No, they're a mile apart from each other. That was about as worst RNG as you can get. So we lost the turn there, but thankfully it's not that much time to lose a turn in that fight. Probably about 2 seconds. Alright, so we're about to meet this new CPU of this new nation. Because you can't have a new nation without a CPU. This new CPU is, you know, going to follow the same old trope of every CPU having to land on Noir, so we get to witness something crazy here. And I'll show you when the CG gets here. Boom. Look at them badonkadonks. It landed like a big giant pair of tits just landed on Noir. There's not even a body, it's just big giant breasts. Who is this person? We don't know yet. But she has like the best battle theme in the game, so we're just... She's respected by me. Oh god, it's over already. Okay, never mind. Well, we learned that she is currently very, very powerful, and our attacks did nothing to her. And she's about to one-shot our entire party. Our entire career is over. We quit. Done. So sadly, we retreat right back to the Basilicum and Planet Neptune because she let us live, because no one really dies in these games. And we're all just switching between the 2 perspectives of the Team Pishi and Team Neptune. One sadness and one happiness, because we, the player, knows who Yellowheart is, but the characters in game do not know. So some time has passed. I forget how many years? 10? 7? Some amount of years has passed. Eden is now a country to be reckoned with. We're just going to do some quests, you know, to help our own country prosper. Copy-paste is good now, and helping Louis out. Blonde doesn't like it, but she has to accept it, I guess. So we're going to be doing this quest here. Best dungeon theme in the game. Ario Plateau. We only get to hear it for 5 seconds, like every other good music. One good thing about this quest is we're forced to do it, but we're not forced to turn it in. Not even on New Game. You don't have to turn this quest in. Why do we do it? Just solely to advance the story. Thanks to New Game Plus having this super jump here, we can skip the entire dungeon and reduce this theme down to like 5 seconds. It could be 3, 5, 10, I don't... It has been a while since I've watched the story. But yeah, that's a neat little fact. Not many people know. Really, only the speedrunners of this game know, to my knowledge. You do not have to turn in this quest to advance the plot. And to prove it, I'm going to go straight to the Basilicum. Most people just turn in the quest, be like, oh god, I completed a quest, you gotta turn it in. No, you don't have to. I mean, you'll get some stuff for it. Like if you're doing a new game or a casual playthrough, you'll probably want the stuff. There we go. The only quest that you're required to do, but not turn in. At least for speed runs. There probably is other casual quests that you can do on the side that you're not required to turn in to events like side stuff. Alright. My memory is kind of fuzzy on exactly what's going on here. I think we're slowly like learning information about how we can get to Eden and who's behind Yellowheart. But before we get that knowledge exactly, we gotta go and beat this Fenrir real quick because we gotta pass time somehow. And thankfully, if I move to its side, we get to one-shot it, because normally, even just for a little side enemy here, for a quest, this enemy has a lot of health. Okay, I remembered wrong. I did have to use stress release. So yeah, even with my base skill, it wasn't enough. I had to use a different skill. Oh well. Not that bad to use an extra turn. Well, it's however long turns children into what looks like teenagers, so it's probably around 5 or 10 years. Yeah, okay, so I have got kidnapped again. Oh man, everyone's Plutia is very upset. Like everyone else, everyone like again? She's kidnapped again? So we're going to go to a Torii Cave up here, where we're gonna finally have Pirachu get brave enough to fight us. Because in the very first chapter, Plutia kind of beats him the heck up within an inch of his life. So he's scared of like Plutia for the whole game. But thanks to the end of chapter 5, R4 also becomes scared, and Plutia, at least in the Ultra Dimension, Pirachu in the Ultra Dimension, he's a brave lad. He's scared of Plutia, but because he sees R4, his partner, is shaking in her boots, he's like, you know what? I'll challenge these guys. They'll feel sorry for me and then walk away. They ain't gonna gang up on me. I'm a tiny mouse. See, that's the last mistake Pirachu is ever going to make, right? Because they do challenge Pirachu to a fight. They don't care if he's just a tiny mouse. And one quirk about this mouse, in the new game speedrun, he is actually a force to be reckoned with, because his AI is forced to attack people who hug him. You have to literally just hug him in order for him to attack you. He also has the highest agility of the entire game. An agility stat of 1111 on the dot, because Idea Factory's funny. So he is automatically faster than you for a while. Like, you can grind levels for a bit and he'll still be faster than you. For some reason they did that. Who knows really, But after that fight, Pirachu tells us everything. We're going to go to Eden. First, we're going to go to Anenidas' lab. I was jumping ahead of myself. Wrong chapter. We don't go to Eden yet. We got to go to Anenidas' lab, where we will learn who Yellowheart is. We got to learn who she is before we go and want to actually like rescue her. Basically a recreation of like every other Last Station dungeon. If you walk in a specific path, the enemies are not gonna... You should never get an encounter here. Like even these two enemies, they look like they're gonna get an encounter, but they'll always just barely dodge you. Alright. And then he takes a while for you to get high enough level to kill in one shot. Yeah, even with New Game Plus levels and DLC, it takes quite a few levels. Level 4 to 500.
I'll beat my authority into your skull. What shall I do to you?
I kind of figured as much.
But after this, we get to fight Yellowheart again for the second time, and we get to hear the banging theme again for 3 seconds. That little sound we heard in the cutscene was them destroying the machine that's given Yellowheart all of her power that she had to able like one-shot the whole team during the first fight. So we're gonna kick her butt here, and she's actually gonna untransform. We're gonna find out like who she is. Like, who's this girl? Like, we gotta find out. She's so big-chested. She's gonna be a big-chested untransformed, right? No, she is. Unbeknownst to us, she is the Pishi that that was taken by her father a couple of chapters ago. Another plot twist. This time she has no memories. I don't remember any of our characters. And that's really sad and depressing. In the good end, we get the items associated with her to help get her memories back. But in the normal end, we don't have any of that. So it's going to be like a depressing ending. Because we don't have any of that. Alright. We're closing in on the final chapter. It's the shortest chapter in the game, just a tad over 2 minutes long. Basically, we're plotting to infiltrate Eden, get Pishi back, whatever means necessary. Basically, chapter 8 is this cutscene, then we go to Eden and do a fight. And that's it. That's all this chapter is. Nothing special at all. So yeah, time is coming up in about less than 1:20 or so. We will be underestimated barely. If this was good to end, we will have an extra cutscene marker on this bridge here with an extra fight. But because we don't see it, that's how you can tell what ending you got. So during that last cutscene, we see her memories like try to come back, but whatever took them away in the first place is really doing a good job at like keeping them away. So that kind of helps the explanation for how this ending works a little more when we beat her here. We're basically going to be taking her back, but she doesn't have her full memories back. She's stuck in forever in that, I feel like I should know you, but I don't have any memories of you. And for a child, that's kind of scarring. She is so confused. And that's why this is a bittersweet ending. Like, sure, the final CG is going to make it look all happy and go lucky, and
I'll beat my authority into your skull.
that's time. What? Hold on. How did she live?
What shall I
Okay,
do?
time. Whatever. I wasn't behind her all the way, I guess. And that is victory in a nutshell.
You were pretty cute.
Nice short, brain dead category. Sad ending. We get. I hope I gave y'all a nice little history lesson for those who cared about the history of speedrunning. I'll also explain the game decently well. I talked a lot. Probably the most commentary I've ever done. I'm really proud of this.
1:15:22. GG.
My splits say 1:14:24. So we'll go in
Good,
between.
you split it early.
But yeah, here's this happy-looking CG, but deep down she's still confused.
Gee.
All in all, I would say, like, if anyone wanted to get into this game, but you don't want something super brain dead, try the new game with DLC category. Sure, you'll be strong, but you'll still have like the requirements of new game, aka the quests with the fetch quests and stuff. It's a nice, fun, relaxing game. As long as you don't do new game, never touch new game. That's all I will say. Now enjoy this ending theme, and I will head off. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Endeavor, for that run.
No problem. You guys are welcome.